All right. Well, let me thank everyone that's here. We got another one coming in. All right. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm super excited about this. I know Dan is too. We've got a very special guest for you. If you are associated with the Marines in any way, shape, or form, then you absolutely 1,000% know the gentleman that we have on today, and it's probably one of my favorite lines in the entire freaking movie, man. But I'm not going to spoil it. Dan, let me turn it over to you, friend. I'll let you introduce our esteemed guest, and we'll get started.
And Doc, while I'm doing that, why don't you go to YouTube and pull up? Can you pull up the clip from Full Metal Jacket here, and we'll let
YouTube
it
is
rock?
really kind of funny about that, man, because of the copyright.
Okay, all right.
Um, what I
I
what I
don't
would
think
do,
that's gonna bother.
what I'll do is I'll pull it up, and then after we stop recording, I'll go ahead and play it.
Okay, that sounds good. So, all right, we're happy to have a bunch of veterans on here, active duty Marines, as well as future Marines and future service members. So we thank you all for coming on tonight for American Warriors military branded entertainment online event here with a very special guest. Most of you know from the movie Full Metal Jacket, the door gunner. Get some. And he'll do it much better than I will. But Tim Colceri, who is a Marine Corps veteran from the Vietnam era, has been in up to 64 movies and films. Obviously, the most popular is the one we're talking about here with Full Metal Jacket. He's a great guy. He's done events for us before. He's always supported us and been willing to come on and entertain us and support us. He's one of us. He's a U.S. Marine. And without further ado, we would like to introduce Tim Colceri, the drill instructor.
All right, listen up. My name is Gunnery Sergeant Hartman. I am your senior drill instructor. From now on, you'll speak only when spoken to, and the first and last word out of your mouth will be, sir. You maggots understand me? I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair. If you ladies leave my island, if you survive your air crew training, you will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death praying for war. Until that day, you are pukes. You're scumbags. You're the lowest form of life on earth. You people are not even human. You're just a lot of little pieces of amphibian shit. You maggots aren't going to have any fun here. You're not going to enjoy standing in straight lines. You're not going to enjoy massaging your own wand. Most of you may not like me, but the more you hate me, the more you'll learn. I'm hard, but I am fair. There's no racial bigotry here. I do not look down upon niggers, kikes, wops, or greasers. Here, you are all equally worthless. All right, that's all you get for the Full Metal Jacket. How you doing?
That was awesome. Gosh, you got me motivated.
That's funny, huh?
I think I got a chub.
Anyway, how did a guy like me from Arizona, never even wanted to become an actor, get to star in one of the greatest war films I've ever made, Full Metal Jacket? I guess I would have never got that role if I wouldn't have joined the Marines, because I would have never known how to imitate a drill instructor, because the drill instructors I had 1969 were very crazy. Vietnam War was going on. They wanted to make sure you're going to come back alive, so that they believed the tougher they were on you, the better chance you were going to come back alive. And they trained you like that. And I had some amazing stories. When I got off the plane, I didn't have anything to shave. But my father gave me a shaving kit. And I thought, I must have known something was wrong, because I was the only guy on the plane carrying a shaving kit. And when I got off the plane, the drill instructor went, "Hey, come here. What the hell's that?" "Shaving kit, sir." He took it and he went, my father gave me that. "I'm your father and I'm your mother." And he reached up and took my St. Christopher's medal that I just got from my mother the night before, blessed for my protection, and he ripped off my neck and he went, "I am God. You get out there and you stand at attention, and you come get me when the bus comes. You hear me, boy?" I ran out of attention. "All of you, get out there and stand at attention. You come back and get me when the bus comes." So I stood out of attention in my jeans and little checkered shirt, standing there somewhat of attention in front of the airport, wondering, he thinks he's God. Where are we going? And the next thing I know, a Greyhound bus pulled up, and I went back to, I said, sir, the bus is here. And he took his arm and put it around me, and he took his knuckles and he shoved them right in my chest. I went, that's the wrong goddamn bus. You come get me when the right bus comes. You hear me, boy? Pushed me back out again. I ran out back, stood at attention. Half an hour went by. Here comes a green Marine Corps bus. I even looked over and I saw the yellow print, USMC 13827. It's a Marine Corps bus. The doors opened up right in front of me. The guy in fatigues was sitting there right behind the wheel. He didn't get out. I got out of formation. I ran back to the airport. There was a drill instructor talking to another drill instructor. And I said to him, sir, the bus is here. And he gave me that look, with that hat on. He went like this. He went, don't you ever talk to me when I'm talking to another drill instructor kind of look. And all of a sudden the drill instructor left. And I said, the bus is here. He looked at the bus, put his arm around me like an old buddy again, hit me again twice. That's the wrong goddamn bus. You come get me when the right bus comes. You hear me, boy? Now I'm thinking, my God, that's the green bus. That was a fight. Here comes a big cattle truck. Had ramps for the horses and mules or whatever to go in there. No seats, and a couple places, I guess, for bars where they could breathe. And he said, why didn't you come get me? My bus came, and he ripped my neck and he threw me in the truck first. The best part about being in first is now I get to watch everybody else leave, and I get to know where I'm going because I'm the last one out. I'm always thinking positive. So we get to the base, and they hear this. Now, this is the crazy. Every Marine tells this story. When you get outside the bus area or whatever, the cattle truck, whatever, they have not just one drill instructor. They got about 6 or 7 of them. And they got the famous yellow footprints all over the ground over there. They're telling you to get on. And it's something like, they go like this. When I give you the word, you fall in the yellow footprints, painted on the deck over there. With 1 foot and 1 footprint, your other foot in your other footprint, your left and your left and your right and your right. And they come in pairs, ladies. I better not catch none of you faggot son of a bitches sharing footprints. Ready? Move! What the fuck are you looking at? Do you like me? Yes, sir. Well, liking me leads to loving me. And loving me leads to fucking me. And motherfucker, you don't want to fuck with me. You're about to receive your first Marine Corps recruit haircut. You be shaved completely bald. If you have a mole, a bump, a scar, or anything else protruding from your head, by protruding and anything else sticking up out of your head, the minute you sit in that chair, stop. What? Just take a little off on the side, a little on top. What? You give that smart ass the target cut. And they cut his head into a bullseye. And for the first week, they go, Private Bullseye. And he step up and go, sir, Private Bullseye. Reporter's orders, sir. And he bends his head down like this, and they go, pow, hit him right in the head. This is the way it was when I was in boot camp, right? In saying that, I could have never portrayed the drill instructor in Full Metal Jacket. So what happened was, I guess, starting my Marine Corps experiences was I was a 3052 packaging, and there was only 22 of us in the Marine Corps, and they sent me in Da Nang, Vietnam, and I worked from 6 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning, packing everything up. That was my job. I had 8 Korean forklift drivers, 21 Marines, and 3 Lance Corporals that I was in charge of every night. And, I had to fight only 3 times. But I knew how these drill instructors worked because when I was in boot camp, and to become an actor, the only thing you really got to do, the job you have to do the most is memorize. I remember if I didn't know my first general order, pow! So I'd be marching, going, my first general order is to walk my post in a military manner, keeping always at alert. And I can't believe I still remember that stuff. This is 50 years ago. So I didn't have no desire to become an actor. I was a Marine, and I became a golfer for a few years. Tried to get my card. I didn't get it. I was a pretty good golfer, but I didn't know what to do. I was traveling. I became an airline flight attendant, and I got based in Los Angeles to fly Hong Kong, Singapore, Seoul, Korea, and Guam. And a buddy of mine kept saying, man, you got a lot of energy. You ever thought about acting? I said, no, that's not me. I'm not that kind of guy. And he goes, well, come on to my acting class. So I went to this acting class, and I said, I can do that. And the next day I did it, and somebody said, you're good. I go, oh, really? I'm good at acting? Give it a shot. And I had so much energy. I was kind of landing some good commercials, but I wanted to do film, and I got kind of I'm going to give this a shot, and if I don't get it, I'm getting out kind of an attitude. And I got second best a lot, second lot, but I kept dedicating and trying and believing. And I wanted to do film. And I remember I got my first film by being on a set. What was the name of that movie? Slapshot. No, Slapstick. Slapshot was Paul Newman. Slapstick. And I was an extra, and I didn't want to be an extra. I wanted to be a principal. And I thought I was going to get a role, and I didn't. But I was there for 2 weeks, and I met Marty Feldman and Merv Griffin, and who else was in it? Really, Madeline Kahn. God, a lot of great actors back then. And somehow they remembered me, and the next year I got a role in their movie and got my SAG card and was still doing commercials, but nobody hired me as to do a film. And I heard that Kubrick was doing a Marine Corps film and to send a tape. So I got this kid that was like 6'5", and I told him, I said, "Can I yell at you? I got to send this tape, and hopefully, I'll hire both of us." And this kid didn't know how to act; he wasn't an actor. So I said, started yelling at him, and he started kind of laughing, and I went, "You think it's fucking funny? Push up position, up, down, up, down." And I started yelling at him and sent this tape off. I think it was 3 years later. I forgot all about the tape. I got a phone call from my agent saying somebody was interested in my tape and my work. And then they called me and they go, "Who's this other guy? He's brilliant." I go, well, he used three adjectives. He was lovely, splendid, and brilliant. Three English adjectives I never heard. And I'm thinking, wow, I know they want to hire us. So they called me 3 days later, said, "We found him. He's on leave in Hermosa Beach. We want you to direct him through these 3 scenes." So I haven't seen this guy in 3 years. He's got 4 years enlisted. I know he's got another year left and I'm thinking the Marines are not going to let this guy out to be in this movie. I'm probably not going to get this role now. And they said they found him on leave. We want me to direct him through these 3 scenes. And the kid, I told you they might want to use you. And he still didn't know how to act. And he had to do that scene where he held the rifle. This is my rifle. There's many like it, but this one's mine. And he couldn't remember his line. He just couldn't act. And I did a couple of, "I can hear you." And I sent the tape back. 3 days after sending that tape back, I got a phone call from Warner Brothers president. "Hello, Tim. This is the president of Warner Brothers. Tim, I have a tremendous amount of faith in Stanley Kubrick. Tim, Stanley Kubrick has a tremendous amount of faith in Tim Colceri." I took the phone. I ran out there. "Stanley Kubrick has a tremendous amount of faith in me." "Yes, sir. Come on down, sign your contract." So I had no idea what contracts would be, I'd take one line in that movie at that time. I was so excited to be able to be in that movie. And when I got up there, I will never forget, I went to like West Hollywood, and in most interviews, I didn't even drink coffee. They said, "Would you like something to drink?" I said, "Sure." And they brought me a China cup rather than a styrofoam cup. I knew something big must be happening. And then Walter Matthau was in the room before me. And he gets up and leaves, and I go and meet this guy, and he says, "Tim, you got the finest role in the movie. You got the best role. You play the role of the drill instructor." And he handed me the script. And I remember I didn't even go back to the elevator. I just left the office. I went right down to the stairwell and sat there and read that. I didn't stop yelling for 60 pages. I went, how did I get this role? But I was perfect for it at that time. So Stanley was shooting all the Vietnam stuff first because he was going to have to cut their hair off in boot camp, so he might as well shoot that second. That was what they told me. And all the time, I got the role in June, July, August, September, October. They finally called for me to come over to London. And I got off the plane, and there was a guy holding my name. He was my driver, and he handed me a pager and said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "Take me to a pub." And I was going to work my ass off. I want to check out London for at least a night. And right when I was at this pub, my pager went off, and I looked down and said, "Tim, learn pages 1 through 28 by tomorrow morning. Driver will pick you up at 7, Stanley." I said, "Take me to the hotel." I'm cramming this dialogue in my mind, and I did it for 3 straight days. They videotaped me for 12 hours a day. After 3 days, I get a phone call. "Stanley wants to meet me. He's very impressed with my work." And I said, "I thought he was impressed with my work before I got here." Anyway, I went down to the set, and there was a scene where they were shooting Doc J, It was like he's shooting a Vietnam film in London. First of all, he brought in 200 palm trees and 1,000 plants, and somehow he pulled it off. But it was cold and it wasn't like your normal jungle feeling at all while filming. Anyway, where was I in this story? Help me out, you guys. Let's see if anybody's even listening.
Kubrick wanted to meet you.
Okay, I want to meet him too. So I'm walking down the set and I see him, and his first words to me are, "Tim, thank you for sending me that tape." And I said, "Mr. Kubrick, you need 1,000 takes. I'm prepared to give you 1,001." He said, "Don't believe all that propaganda. Is everything all right?" I said, "Well, sir, I'm in the hotel room and I'm screaming at nobody, and the maids are giggling. They're walking by thinking I'm crazy." And he went, "Find him another place to live." So I went back home, went back to the hotel. Then they had three places for me to look at. The first place, I was so tired from rehearsing all day that they looked masculine, kind of looked like my couch right here. I said, "I'll take it." They said, "You're going to like this place. Margot Kidder lived here before you when she shot Superman, and Michael Biehn, his wife and two kids, live above you." So about a week later, I went, "I got to see who this Michael Biehn guy is." And sure enough, as soon as he opened the door, he was the guy from Terminator, and I recognized him. He had this big smile on his face, and gosh, we've been best buddies ever since that day. We've been good friends. And he kept taking me to all the Alien sets because Stanley didn't want me around anybody because I was the menacing drill instructor. So he didn't let me around any crew members at all. So I only had friends that were on Aliens. And at that time, having that big role, they were almost envious of me because I was in a Kubrick movie with the best role in the movie at that time. And I don't know, I felt equal to them, right? The reason I say that, it was like having that role for so long became part of me in a lot of ways. Anyway, so get sidetracked. So I rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed, and they told me many a times, "You're shooting tomorrow," and one of them was for, I think it was 12 hours. It was that line, "You're about to receive your first Marine Corps recruit haircut. You'll be shaved completely bald. If you have a mole, a bump, a scar, or anything else protruding from your head, and by protruding, anything else sticking up out of your head, the minute you sit down in that chair," and they stopped me and he said, "What?" I go, the minute you sit down in that chair." And I got mad because I was going pretty good. I thought that was a tough memorization. I didn't say down in the chair. So I started beating up the chair, and I turned around and I did the whole dialogue, and I went, "The minute you sit down in that chair, you place your finger," and it actually made it work because I was so pissed off at him. But that's the way my days were like for every day of rehearsing. And finally, one day I'm over at Michael's house, and we were watching some NFL football, and I just had a feeling something negative was going on down below. And I looked, and there was Leon Vitale, his right-hand man, and he had death on his face. And I said, open the door. I said, "Leon," and he had like an envelope in his hand. I said, "Leon, is he taking my role away?" He goes, "Read the letter." "Is he taking my role away?" "Read the letter." I opened the letter, first line, "Dear Tim, after a painful lot of deliberation, I decided to use Lee Ermey to play Sergeant Hartman. I have two starting quarterbacks. I need to choose one. I'm only simply doing this for Warner Brothers because I think he might be more interesting because he really was a drill instructor. I don't know if you'd be interested in this idea, but I'd like you to stay on, play the helicopter door gunner, which is a very powerful role, very powerful scene. Sincerely, Stanley Kubrick." And there was more to about some other crap in there, but those are the basics that it was. My first thought was he couldn't talk to me with this as a man. I had this role for like 8 months. You're just going to send your right hand man with a letter and take it away from me? And there was no thought in my mind that I was doing anything wrong or anybody was trying to get my role at the time. So it was a complete shock, very shocking. I didn't know how to handle it. I couldn't talk to Michael. Was just freaked out. He was right there with me, and he didn't know how to. And the guy who gave me the letter, he didn't know how to handle it. He even thought Stanley was making a mistake. He told me because I was rehearsing with him every day. I mean, became this character, and they wouldn't let me change any dialogue. I got to stay right on dialogue the whole time, every time. And okay, I did that, but I wanted to get off a few times. My character wanted to go explore, and I thought I'll do that when I'm filming, not to fight him now. And so getting this letter, I thought, well, I didn't have a wife and I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. And I didn't have even an agent because I got this role on my own. So I called my mom and my dad. My dad said, Tim, if you're hurting this bad, maybe you ought to go to church. You go, church? Yeah, right. Why would I go to church? Why would God do this to me? Started getting pissed off at God now about it. Saying that sometimes things like this happen to you that it's only hurt me, nobody else. And there are people that love me, but it hurt me a lot. It made me closer to God somehow. I don't think I've forgot to say my prayers ever since then. I'm very appreciative of what he's given me. But boy, at the time, it was a mess. And I thought, well, Kubrick, you want to play this game where you don't want to talk to me, you want to do the letter game. Well, here's my letter back to you. And I sat down that night and I went, Dear Mr. Kubrick, you think it's hard for you to tell me, it's hard for me to accept what you said. You give me 3 minutes of your time, I can go back to California. If I don't do exactly what you want me to do, I can go back to California with a clear conscience. As far as the door gunner role is concerned, just as a painter loves to paint, a singer loves to sing, I'm an actor who loves to act, and nobody can do this role better than I. Very depressed, Tim Colceri. 3 days went by. Leon called me and said, Stanley got your letter today. He's very hurt. He should be hurt. He hurt me. Why am I always talking to you? I slammed on the phone. Then I had to go meet with the executive producer he wanted to meet with me. And Michael said, make sure they give you another contract paid in full. And it was like 2 days before Christmas. Everybody was festive and Christmassy. And I sat down with this executive producer, Jan Harlan, who was married into the family of the Kubrick family. He was producing all his movies, Shining, all those, for years and years. Amazing guy. And he gave me my first contract to play the drill instructor in Hollywood, a year ago now. And now I'm seeing him a year later. And he wants to talk to me about, we're just going to scratch out Sergeant Hartman and put in door gunner on your contract. And I said, oh, no, we're not. It's the principal. I want another contract paid in full. He said, no, Tim, you don't understand this. We have to pay Lee. I said, that's between you and Lee. I want another contract paid in full. It's the principal. I said, no, Timmy. I said, no, it's the principal. And he said, that's the principal. And man, everybody in that hotel looked over at me like that E.F. Hutton. They just stopped and looked and stared. And he looked at me and he went, I see. It's the principal. And I got another contract, but it wasn't much. It was basically the principal. Anyway, now it's a couple of weeks. I'm starting to get involved. I get the door gunner role. And I remember when I read the script, I thought, God, whoever plays that door gunner role is going to have a ball. I never thought it was going to be me. So I started, the way the original in the script was, he got bushy mustache, joints in both ears, wearing a hula shirt with hula dancers on it. And I knew that was not going to be the Marine guy doing it. So I surely didn't play that part. But I saw what the writer was trying to do. And one of the lines they cut out was, I shoot you like shooting people. And I started playing that character like that. Like I enjoyed what I was doing. And funny, I've been teaching 30 some years. And I tell people, no matter what kind of character you are, you want to be likable. If you're a likable bad guy, that's a good trait. Try to be likable. And I had that ability to do that in the door gunner scene, which I'll get to. So now it's a week or so after I've lost the role. I'm trying to remotivate as a Marine. I can get into this other role. It's going to be a great role. I remember losing. I felt like I lost my troops. I went from, the starting pitcher of the World Series now to the bullpen. It was a difficult, but I still was ready to play. And I get a phone call from Leon, his right-hand man again, saying that don't go anywhere. Lee had a very bad car accident last night and hit a tree. He was underneath the tree for 4.5 hours. You got the roll back. And I remember looking up, oh, you are funny. So anyway, but, I couldn't believe this was happening. I got the roll back. This is like mind-boggling. Then another week goes by. The insurance company goes, now, wait a minute. We started with Lee. We're going to finish with Lee. We'll shut down production until he heals. Now they can't even shoot the door gunner scene. I got to fly back to the United States. Well, how'd it go? Well, I lost this one role, but I got another great role coming up. Well, in that 6 months of him healing, now I have an agent, best agency Ed LaMotta, who was with Michael Bean's agent, ICM at the time, and they sent him a letter saying they're thinking about cutting the door, going to roll out to let me know. And my agent doesn't tell me anything. And a week goes by, we got a letter, they say a week ago, that they're thinking about cutting out the door, going to roll. Now it's 100% sure the door, going to roll has been cut out of the film, and they're real sorry. Didn't even hurt the second time. I'm getting used to this now. I went from the best role in the movie to a great role in the movie to no role in the movie. What? Really? So I got my buddy Johnny Lee used to sing a country western song, looking for love in all the wrong places. And he said, Johnny, do you have an entertainment lawyer? He said, yeah. I got to talk to him. So I went and saw this guy. I said, they had me for 2 years. I used to do commercials. I used to have hair, and they cut my hair off to play this role. That's all I can think about. Let's sue him. Nothing happens. I goes, right, sue Warner Brothers too. Write him that letter. So I get a letter from Stanley Kubrick. Dear Tim, while we're under litigation, my lawyers say we should not communicate whatsoever, but I want to let you know it's not unusual to lose your role to another actor or have your role cut out of film. Sorry that's happened. Sincerely, Stanley Kubrick. And I went, that do me no good. 2 months after the movie was wrapped, they decided to put the door gonna roll back in. Offer it to Tim first. If he doesn't want to do it, we got Val Kilmer and Bruce Willis. Okay. They call me up, after me this role. The executive producer going, Tim, this is a fine role. I go, wait a minute. You give me this role back because I'm suing you? Tim, it costs $60,000 a day just to rent the helicopter. He's not worried about you suing him. I said, okay. So I get excited to go over and do this this scene. Been waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally they're ready for me. I get to the airport, and who's there but Kevin Major Howard? And I see him. Bless his heart, he passed away just last week, by the way. Good guy. Anyway, he says we shot the door gunner scene. I go, how can you shoot the door gunner scene without the door gunner? I'm thinking, did they get another actor? Or... He goes, no, they blew wind at us. We didn't even go in the helicopter. So now I just know I didn't lose my role again. I get off the plane this time. Leon picks me up. It's been almost 2 years later. We're now staying just outside of Stanley's house. Springtime, it's not even cold. And every day we'd go to his house, and I'd memorize in timing my dialogue with the other two actors that are not in the helicopter with me, which is weird. And I'm doing it for like about a week. And I'm telling myself, just when you see Kubrick now, don't strangle him. Just do a good job and get the hell out of here, right? So he had a helicopter in his backyard, and I thought, well, I'm going to check the helicopter out. And I get to the top of the stairway, and there's Stanley's in the helicopter. And the reason he doesn't like doing any movies except in England, because he doesn't like to fly. So I didn't expect him to be in the helicopter. When I first hadn't seen him in about a year, and I was pretty mad at him. And I looked up, and he went, hello, Tim, how are you? I went, fine, sir. You ever been one of these? Yes, sir. Take him around. And he flew me around the helicopter a couple of times. They brought me back down and had lunch with Stanley. We were telling stories, and he goes, yeah, born agent Kirk Douglas. I guess that was a compliment. And we were just having a good time talking like buddies. And all of a sudden, he handed me this styrofoam thing, and I opened it up, and it had like cheese and crackers and a bottle about that big with a little plastic cup. It was a red wine. And I'm in his backyard with a helicopter behind him, and I'm pouring this little cup of red wine. And I looked around, and I went, nobody will ever believe me. I remember saying it at that time. It was just so weird. So then he goes, what's your dialogue? I start doing my dialogue, and he looks at the assistant Leon, and he goes, you gave him the wrong dialogue to memorize? And I've been there a week trying to time this. I started stinking eyeing. I was stinking eyeing both of them. I didn't know who to stink eye, but I wasn't real happy about that at all. And so he goes, come with me. And he walked me upstairs to his bedroom. And he got to the typewriter. And then he started to pull the paper. And he doesn't put it the lengthways. He pushes the widthways. And he started to type. And I started thinking, this is right where he typed that letter where he got rid of me. I wonder if he's going to do that again. And he started typing. He looked at me. What was that line he said? Dead Gooks Killed. I go, yeah, I like that line. I swear to God, he typed that stuff up in 20 seconds. And he handed me, he goes, shoot this tomorrow. I'll be there at 11 o'clock. You'll be there at 7 o'clock. and we'll shoot this tomorrow morning. So that's 278 miles from London. We got to drive right now. By the time we get there, it's like midnight, and it's not like driving on freeways. And we got, and I mean, I stink-eyed this guy all the way there. He goes, "I know you're mad at me because I got the wrong dialogue," and then we went to shoot for a year and a half or whatever. So I get there at midnight, 5:30 call. I can't get the guy up. I have to go get the manager, break in his house to wake up his right-hand man, Leon. I can't believe it. And Leon's a trooper, boy. He's filming everything I'm filming and showing it to Stanley. So he's in the chopper with me the whole time. So I get up and I start playing the scene the way I thought I should play the scene, laughing and having fun with it. And Stanley finally shows up at 11 o'clock and he sees what I did. And he went, "Tim, don't laugh like that anymore. Give me an everyday killer smile." And I thought, I walked around the helicopter, came back. Just because I was a Marine, went to Vietnam, you think I know what an everyday killer smile is? And he said, "Don't worry about that. Just shoot the weapon. Get used to the weapon." So I went in the helicopter and I started seeing where I was at, that I could talk. And I said, "I want to talk." And I did the scene without laughing, with just a little, "Anyone who runs is a VC. Anyone who stands still is well-disciplined VC." I didn't do it like that. I mean, I did it like that, but Stanley goes, "Good, Tim, go up and do it 13 more times just like that." And I did it like that. And then about a year went by and the trailer came out. And everybody goes, Full Metal Jacket's trailer came out and you're all through the trailer. I go, "I'm in the trailer? That means I made the movie." Woohoo! And I was happy. I knew I was going to be in the movie then. And sure enough, I saw the trailer. And then I went to see the premiere with Michael. And there was Clint Eastwood sitting next to me and Nicolas Cage and Siskel and Ebert. And all these people, I go, "My God, these people are going to watch me be an actor. This is weird." And then the movie came on. And I saw him playing the drill instructor. And I went, "Oh, that's a good role. That's a good line. Oh, I could have done that line better. Ooh, that's a new line. Ooh, that's a good line. Ooh, that's a nice line. Ooh." And then I got sucked in as a Marine. And I got sucked into the movie. And then when I came on, I didn't even know if I did good or bad. But Michael elbowed me and said, "You did good." And at the end of the movie, it was a hell of a movie. And I got my whole name as a starring credit. It just made me want to cry, man. I was so happy that I got that respect. And now it's 40 years later and we're still talking about that damn movie. But it had a lot to do with my life. And I'm proud that I have, I went through a lot of ups and downs to succeed. It wasn't easy. So, talking to you youngins out there wondering what you're going to do with your life, man, the biggest thing I can tell you is don't be afraid to take chances. You'll succeed if you fail. Just keep pushing. Your body does a lot more than you think it can do. But don't try. You're not going to be good at everything, but try everything. Maybe you might be better than you think. And don't ever give up. And keep thinking positive. I'm telling you, you go a long, long way. Long way. And that's the way I live my life. I have a blessed life. Blessed life. Does anybody want to ask any questions?
Yeah, Flo.
Hello. I'm new here.
Who's that?
How's it?
Jalen speaks.
How's it going, Jalen?
It's going great. How about you?
Doing awesome. Have you ever seen the movie Full Metal Jacket?
The movie the Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah.
The movie?
Yes.
No.
What year were you born?
2006.
Oh my God.
What?
He will see this before he dies. It'll be on Classic Turner. It still keeps going,
What is it about?
Marine Corps. The Marine Corps. It's all about Marines in Vietnam and that sort of thing. Of what it was like back in that year of when they were, fighting for our freedom. It's an interesting movie. You should look at it.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at it later on today.
First off, who hasn't seen this movie?
That's what I normally hear.
Are you talking about Full Metal Alchemist?
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket, probably I think could be the greatest. Marines in the Room, the greatest Marine movie of all time.
It's one of it's one of the top 10 war movies of all time.
Yeah. I do like Full Metal Alchemist. It's pretty cool.
We'll send you the link to Full Metal Jacket to be able to check it out. Okay, we'll send you some information on it.
Dan, you're cutting in and out a little bit, buddy. Your audio's not very good.
Me?
Dan.
How's is mine okay?
Oh, yours is great. Yours is great. So
Hang on.
So you guys did I cover what you wanted me to cover?
Go ahead, Tim.
Did I cover what you guys wanted to do? Any questions or anything we need to talk about?
I got a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
With how popular the movie is, would you rather have gotten royalties from it? Like possibly like now that it's on a lot of
It's a great question. But I don't think everybody's ever asked that, and it's an important one. For me, when I first got into acting, I don't know, I got so involved in I couldn't wait to play that character that from that point on, I didn't care. As long as I got paid something, I was always happy. I never cared about the money aspect of it. So in that movie at that time, I knew it was going to be a great movie from the concept of what I read. So I wanted to be part of that movie, and I never cared if I got a dime. But since it was shot in England, as soon as I got off the plane, they took me right down and had to get a green card because they have to prove why we're not hiring an English actor, why are we hiring an American actor? In saying that, I don't get a dime whenever that plays because of that. We don't get any residuals because of that. We had to sign green cards to be able to work in London for all that period of time. Michael Biehn, who was doing Aliens, only 5 of them got residuals, and oh my God, those are big. Especially that movie, gosh, it's played almost every month for 40 years. So I regret the fact that I didn't get in. Although I get a lot. I do some autograph signings, and I feel like I get almost more than I deserve. But I'm happy I get anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it never was about the money. It was about more. I can't wait to be in this movie, and I'm shocked that I had a role that was so memorable so many years later that people almost know my dialogue word for word, or they remember that character. In most movies, you got when you're in the army, yes sir, okay, we're going over, let's go. You don't have a moment of a personality, and I had a few minutes of being a character that people remembered in that movie. So grateful. And my problem with that is I've never been able to just go to that gratefulness. I always got to go, poor me. They gave me this great role. They took it away from me. And they gave it back to me, and then they took it away again. It's been difficult. I'm glad we're doing a documentary so I don't have to tell the story again, because a lot of people don't know the story. They just think I played that role, and it was a long way to get around to it. But he was right for that role, and I was right for the door gunner role. So Stanley did the right thing. It just was one of those, at that moment in time, if I had to write down the perfect role for me as an actor, and the physical I had as a body and everything, it was that role. It was that role. So when I did it, I think I did it 17 years later on a show called Weeds. You ever see that show?
No, I'm a 2004. I was born in 2004. So
Well, these are shows that were on Showtime. You want to see? Let me show you the drill instructor, what he did. This is great. We'll finish it up like this. This is what I had to say. Ready? Watch this. All right, listen up. It's my sorry ass job to inform you, ass felching, salad tossing, come, guzzling faggots. That butt ugly face you're staring at right now is one of the most important goddamn faces you ever lay your eyes upon. That is your battle buddy. Your battle buddy is like a Siamese twin. He shits, you shit. He fucks up, you fuck up. He goes down, you go down. 6 weeks from today, this entire group of Girl Scouts will be shipped over to Iraq. Make no mistake about it. I will rape each and every one of you before you will go. So you best pay perfect attention to every goddamn word comes out of my godly mouth. Who in the hell gave you permission to break rank from my formation, you flaccid little dick. Well, they told me I was going to get a desk job. Hey, tell everybody you're going to get a desk job, you useless twat. Oh, but I have 8 toes. I got 4 dicks. You better fall back in line before you use one to fuck you up the ass. Now move out, Private Botwin. That's what they paid me to say. Strange, huh?
I knew that sounded familiar. Using Full Metal Jacket, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew that line sounded familiar, man.
Yeah, that was one of the. Then that was Weeds, the second one I did. So yeah, it's a you have to do one thing as an actor. You got to memorize. You got to be able to memorize that dialogue and do it over and over and over again because you have to do it so many times. And then you got to do it enough where you beat another guy looks just like you can do the same damn thing. You better be good at it. It's not easy.
Tim, I got to tell you, in my opinion, that opinion and a $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee. But I think that role that you played, it's obviously an iconic role. It will go down in history. I think every Marine has either watched that movie or will watch that movie at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think anybody could have played that particular scene any better. It's 2 minutes, right? It's 2 to 3 minutes.
Right.
And it's probably one of the most memorable scenes in a movie, especially in the military genre in history. So, yeah, man, I wouldn't beat yourself up too bad about losing the other part because you were made. I really feel you were made for that role.
Maybe I should start thinking of it better that way. It's been hard for me to think it. I remember when I read the script thinking that guy's going to have a great time playing that role. I just never knew it was going to be me. That's weird.
I mean, I already told you it's my favorite line in the movie.
And he wrote that in 20 seconds.
Did you do it? Did you do it yet?
What, my scene?
Yeah.
No, let me do my
Go
scene.
ahead. Yeah, okay. Hell yeah.
Get some. 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 I got you, mother. Get some. Anyone who runs is a VC. Anyone who stands still is a well-disciplined VC. Well, you boys ought to do a story about me sometime. Why should you do a story about you? Because I'm so fucking good. And that ain't no shit neither. I've got me 157 dead gooks killed and 50 water buffaloes too. Them are all certified. Any women or children? Sometimes. How can you shoot women and children? Easy. You just don't lead them so much. Ain't war hell? Woo!
Hands down, my favorite scene, man. Oh my God, that's great.
Funny, I've never had to do it live like
Clark.
I have a question.
Can I ask you for advice?
Yes, sir.
So I'm planning to do a 20-year contract with infantry. Do you recommend that?
Actually, a staff sergeant nasty. I think this might be your realm. We have a recruiter right now.
Perfect.
Guilty as charged. Hey, brother, our contracts for active duty are about 4 years apiece. I always recommend that everybody takes into consideration their next contract as you're finishing up that 4th year. Talk to your recruiter or your we call them career jammers. They're career planners. They're an actual MOS in the Marine Corps. Think of it like somebody who's watching you grow through the ranks and advising you on how to properly, continue. So 20 years is an awful long time as a Marine. Myself, I'm coming up on 12. So thankfully, 10 fingers and 10 toes and a couple deployments in the same marriage. So what I would say to anybody is take it 4 years at a time.
Absolutely. I agree. But
Awesome.
you know what, though? Get in there because you'll know you get the medical for the rest of your life. You get to see the world. You don't have to worry about paying rent. It's an interesting concept being in the service. It makes you what you want to be. So some people want to do it forever. Even if you just do it for a little while, it's a good thing to do.
What's that Joker said in the movie? You get to meet interesting people and kill them.
Yeah. It's funny when one of the things when you get your MOS, and they would go, Johnson, 0311, grunt, you're going to die. Johnson, Smith, 0311, you're going to die. You're going to die. My buddy would say that. 90% of the Marines are grunts. I don't know what it is, 80%? What do you guys think it is? 0311s. How many out there? Dan?
I'd hazard a guess and say probably 60%. Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe
less than
less than
50. There's
How
still
many?
a lot of support people out there. So yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was just, you know what it was? It's because I was during the Vietnam War. It was so strong. It was the first time in Marine Corps history that they were throwing every third guy into the Marines. And the drill instructor go, "You didn't ask you to join except for you three unlucky guys." Did you know that happened back then?
No, not at all.
Yeah, it was the first time in Marine Corps history that they had like some guys they had to draft in. And he said the first day we got there, all of you will go to Vietnam, and every one of us went to Vietnam. Every one of us. So I mean, they knew at that particular time. It was like a weird time too, because half the country was go over there and kill those commie bastards, and the other half were going, "What are you doing going over that war?" It was like a weird thing to be in the middle of. It was weird. But I'm so glad I did it. I stepped on a claymore mine when I was over in Da Nang. And when I said it, it buzzed underneath my foot. And 20 yards away, two kids went, "Gee, I'm gonna die. Gee, I'm gonna die." And that's not what you want to hear right when you do that, So I locked and loaded, and I wanted to scare them, and they did. One went running that way, and one went running that way. And the guy thinks I could take it apart. And he dug a hole and took it apart. He said, "Throw me your rifle." They blow a little left and dive to the right. And my mind was, as soon as the rifle goes, I'm gone. So I decided to throw it and dive at the same time, and nothing happened. But what a stupid thing to have to deal with in life. You know what I mean? Every Marine has a story. Every Marine has a story. And I got a movie that I wrote called The Birth of Pride that I'm trying to get done right now. I have some people interested in it. It's all about my experiences in that era, And one of the scenes I'm shooting is a great one of you hear shows us voiceover of what it was like in 1969. We were, forced to sign up for the draft, whether you liked it or not. Everybody was worried about their lottery numbers, and the Vietnam War was going on. We had 3 channels: ABC, CBS, and NBC. That was it. We drank Tang. We had waterbeds, TV dinners. Life was weird. First man on the moon. I was in boot camp saying a prayer for Neil Armstrong's safe return home. It was a great scene. I mean, so anyway, the scene I'm going to shoot is you hear the voiceover of all that, and then you hear boom, 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 and the close-up of my drill instructor hat holding an envelope like this, and he goes, "I can hear you," and you hear boom, boom, boom. "Sir, Private Colceri, request permission to enter duty, officer." "I still can't hear you." Boom, boom, boom. "Sir, Private Colceri, request. I still can't hear." And then he voice over him, go, "Sometimes they'll keep you out here for 15 minutes just to fuck with you. Get your ass in here." He steps in front of the guy. "Sir, Private Colceri, request you to speak." "Speak." "Sir, Private Colceri, reporting is ordered, sir." "Who the fuck is Judy Colceri?" Looking at the envelope. "Sir, the private sister, sir. Well, that dumb bitch forgot to put a postage stamp on this envelope. I had to pay for it. Now it belongs to me. Push up position." So I jumped down and pushed up position. And then he says, "I might as well read my letter." And he opened the letter, and the picture fell out of my sister. She was a year younger than me. It was her 17-year senior picture. And he went, "Is that her? Is that the dumb bitch that couldn't lick a stamp to put it on this? Is this not forget what she looks like?" And he put her down in front of me, and he went, "Ready, exercise."
Oh
So
my.
now I'm doing push-ups looking at my sister's picture. And he goes, "I might as well read my letter. Dear Timmy." Oh, sweet. "Mom and Dad looking forward to your graduation next week. Enclosed is my senior picture. I hope you like it. And I was wondering, is that drill instructor really that mean?" "Am I mean? Am I?" Start spitting. Then the kid starts to spit on his pictures. First few spits, he doesn't want to do it. We show a time lapse of about 50 push-ups later, and he's shaking. He changes to, "How could you forget a stamp? I hate you." He spits on it hard. That's it. Semper Fi, Marine. Look at that Marine in front of me.
Hoorah.
Look at you. That look good in that uniform.
That's
What's your rank? I can't see the rank. What was that? Oh,
yeah.
my God. That's Sergeant.
There it is.
That Sergeant. What's happening, man? Have you been listening to anything we've been talking about?
Yes, sir. I was the individual who mentioned a 4-year contract. Take it as you can.
Oh, really? Good for you. You're smart. Smart move.
Well, I've fooled at least a few people.
Oh, hey Tim, there's a couple questions in the room.
Sure.
One of them is from I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Lear. Mr. Colceri, I appreciate you taking time to talk to everyone. Really means a lot. When it comes to acting and making characters, do you use free time to practice voices or take inspiration from other movies to try to experiment?
No, my first thought is, how would I be if that was me in that situation? Right? That's the first thing I think about. Second thing, now, if that was me and that was me in that situation, is he from the South, or does he have an accent, or is he angry, or I mean, is he? But what else is his character about? So the more I know about the character, then I just become that character. And it's fun. Sometimes the character will pull you into other areas. That's what's fun. You have. It's a lot of more technical than you think. You have to say the same lines almost the same way. But I'd have to say there's very few times I've ever got to work with somebody that I actually got to say, wow, we really connected. You got to connect to the scene. You got to connect to the character. You got to connect to the camera. You got to do all these connections. It's not always just connecting to the other actor, and then it's technically movement. The movement, it might, your angles, you got to know where the camera is. Does that answer any questions?
Lear, does that answer your question?
Lear said he can't use his mic right now. That's
Oh,
okay.
Okay. Did we get to Jay?
No.
He said he has a question. Okay.
Jay, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, I had a question.
Sure.
So about the movie, innit? I was seeing where I could watch it.
Yeah.
Like no, like what about? Like
Oh, it's right
is
in
it
the
on?
middle of the movie. If you start the movie at
No,
9 o'clock, it's right in the very middle of the movie. It's an hour into the movie. I come on.
Hey, don't worry, Jay. Well, when we stop recording, I'm gonna go ahead and play the scene for everyone. It's just
no,
copyright issues that we don't want to mess around with right now.
no, like I mean, like is it on HBO, Netflix?
If you just put in YouTube door gunner, it'll pop up. It's got like 3 million hits now. It's really...
Oh, for Dag, that's real cool, isn't it?
It's very easy to find.
How long is the movie, innit?
3 minutes, about 2.5 minutes. I don't know.
Is there a place to watch the movie for free?
I don't know.
I'm sure you could find it on YouTube or
you can definitely find a lot of the scenes, but from A to Z, it's worth seeing.
I'd check out Netflix or Amazon or any of the streaming platforms.
Because I didn't see any place that you could actually watch it for free, so that's what I was wondering.
Wow, that's a Kubrick move. He's
well,
smart.
that's why I was wondering if you wanted if you were like questioning now, like if you wanted royalties off of it, because like now every place like you have to pay for it now because it's so popular.
I never once thought that way.
I got a question.
Sure.
So, like, how long were you in the Marines for?
I went in the Marines on my 18th birthday and got on exactly my 20th, 2 years exactly. That was it, in and out. And two brothers after me. I have a brother went in, was an officer, and then was an FBI agent for 20 years. And a younger brother, 15 years younger, was a helicopter crew chief, and now's a Learjet mechanic. So our family had 3 Marines out of 5 boys. That's not bad.
Wait, you say you worked for the FBI on?
No, my brother did. My brother was in the FBI for 20 years.
Jesus, work for FBI on a whole lot of money is crazy.
Well, that was 20 years ago too. I don't know. It was different back then. I hope. Who knows? It's interesting, the concept of life and what we have to go through. The wars repeat themselves, and who's corrupt and who's not. It's just.
Wait, so like, how do you even get in the Marines? I mean, not the Marines. The FBI on a whole lot of money.
Even I don't know. Even though he got in, they had to check myself out and all my brothers and my whole family members. It's a a whole screening process to know everything about everything.
So like interrogate you?
No, they just look back in all your records. I wasn't interrogated. Just records of everything I've ever done.
Not that time anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah. Now I might be in trouble. Somebody
Yeah,
said,
a
"What
lot
would
of
you do
buttons.
if you were president?" I said, "I'd be impeached immediately of something bad I did years ago." That's the truth.
I got a question.
When
I
you
got
get
that. Oops, sorry, I didn't want to cut him off.
No, is this Richard?
That's me.
Hey
Um,
man, what's happening?
Not much. First of all, huge fan, so I appreciate taking the time to
Oh,
talk
thanks.
to us. But I was just curious, how was your relationship with Arlie Ermy after, you found out that
Yeah.
he got the role, and then how was it even after, like, you saw how
Well,
big the movie was?
I did the best I could, and I have to say we were friends. I think the best part about it was we both were Marines, so we had a respect for one another. That helped me a great deal. And I also say I probably would have done the same thing he did if I wanted the role. But I didn't know that he was even up for the role. He was a technical advisor on the film at the time. So I look back at that now. One guy said it should have been a competition between the both of you. What he did is he started yelling the dialogue that I was staying. They had maybe stayed right on dialogue, and he would add these little extra things, and he started yelling at some extras, and then Stanley saw that, and then he showed Stanley he had a lot more of that, and that's when Stanley hired him. If I had got those extra little quirks that he knew, I still would have had that role. I had to stay on the character, and it was difficult. And even in his letter, he had two starting quarterbacks. He had to choose one, and Lee was bringing much more energy, the reality, with his ability to know all those. I think he wrote 150, sarcastic little things. I love that line. You wouldn't even give him a reach around. I mean, some of his stuff was "You're a Peter Puffer." That wasn't even written in there, So he had some great dialogue. In saying that, I'm getting off the subject. I played golf with him. I was at his funeral. I respected him, and he respected me. But it's difficult to say to be best friends with somebody who takes the dream of your lifetime away. You know what I mean? So it was kind of a weird situation that I went through. But in all, I probably would have been just like him. So I can't get mad at him. And he did a hell of a job as the role. We played golf together. I wish it's funny. Michael Biehn was the vice president of the movie, and Lee Ermey was the president of the movie, and I was the admiral in the movie. And the three of us were at the Oval Office in a scene, and it just was weird for me to be in there at that time. To play that role with those two guys. Forgot the name of the movie, Omega 2 or something. Anyway, I hope I answered it. It was not easy, but we became pretty good friends. I think that'd be the answer.
Joe,
Awesome. Thanks again.
Joe has a question for you. Joe, go ahead with your question.
Hi, Mr. Tim. Thank you for your time. Yeah, I typed a question, but I think they didn't tell you the question. My question is what role, if any, you've played deeply affected you personally, or perhaps even changed you in a permanent manner?
Well, first of all, it's called acting, so I don't take any of it personal. That's the first thing I teach people. You can't take it personal. You're playing these other characters. It's okay to be them and have fun being them. That's what I enjoy being an actor. I don't ever take it personal.
EBM.
The hardest role I had to play was Babylon 5 because I found out my father was dying and I was under contract. And there's 50 people that are doing the lighting and the camera and the makeup and this. There's a lot of people involved that won't go to work if I'm not there. So I was required to be there. And when I look at my performance, you would never know that my father was dying from my performance. It's kind of like one thing about acting is it's like a vacation. You get to go to another place. So if you got problems at home, you lost your dog, you got a ticket, you're broke, you're sick, whatever. When you're acting, you got to be this other character, and you got to concentrate to get there. So you're not thinking about anything else but being that character, and it's kind of a good place to get away from reality. So that was probably the most difficult one mentally because of what was going outside at that time with my father passing, and he died like 6 days later, 1997. But other than that, I don't take. I've had to kill a lot of people. I've had to say some bad stuff. I just, that's part of the character. In fact, my father had to go see Full Metal Jacket. He was in line, and your mom said he had to say something. Yeah, my son's in this movie. What role does he play? I don't know. And then I'm shooting women and children, and my dad's sinking down in his chair. That's funny. I'm sure I don't think whatever. You know what I mean? What's happening?
Hello, good evening.
Is
Go ahead.
there
Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
Boot Jay out, Doc.
Send it.
All right. Hey, Jay, boot him out of here.
Which one?
Whatever you want, boot him out.
No, wait, not me. Not me. There's two. Not me. Not this one.
Wait, two J's. Wait, what?
Hey, Jay, is this Jalen talking right here?
Huh?
Is this Jalen?
Yeah, this is Jalen, but I didn't say anything.
Oh no, you're good, buddy.
This is
I didn't do anything.
No, you're good, buddy.
Anybody want to ask me anything?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I do. So you didn't get any money from the movie?
Oh no, I got paid. In fact, I think because of that first role I had, it was an 8-week guaranteed contract, which I've never had one ever since then. And they had to pay me $36,000 just to memorize all that dialogue and never play that role. I think it was 17 years later I finally got to play the character on Weeds. It's a long time afterwards. Did you hear that dialogue? It was pretty funny. That Weeds dialogue, isn't it?
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's good dialogue.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
How's it going?
I'm doing okay. Your face definitely looks familiar, and you're definitely a legend. So thank you for all of that. And I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So my question to you will be, what would you say to us that is trying to choose this path? Some of us is our dream, our life goal. We've always anticipated, or we always want to solve. We just feel like we have the urge or the calling to solve your country or what you believe in. So what would be your advice or motivation to us, due to how everybody's trying to distract or trying to discourage us, saying you don't have to join the military. There's a lot of other things that you can do that it will help you in life. You don't have to go down that path. They're just trying to use you and everything. And so based on your experience, and you've solved as well, so what would be your message to us to boost up our confidence, to boost up our mindset that we have right now, so that whenever somebody try to distract us, try to tell us we should not choose this path, what would be a message for us to always remember that?
Well, the first thing you said, I think earlier, was
this is different from the other guys. We design and test our own tools and sell them directly to you. No middleman, just quality tools.
Wow.
I'm not sure what that was.
I don't know, but the first thing that you said was your dream was to serve this country. That's what I thought I heard. Anyway, when you said that, forget about what anybody else thinks. It's what you want to do. It's your dream. So to make your dream successful, you're going to take a lot of hard work and dedication. And dedication means doing it when you don't want to do it. Whatever it's going to take you, whatever the rules that you need to follow to get into there, you need to abide by them and make sure you do them. And whatever crossroads you come across, you make sure I'm going to dedicate myself to get past that line. It matters how much you want it. If you want it, you can get it. And it'll be a great move once you're in there. You'll be very proud of making that decision, because you'll be respected. And respect goes a long way in this world. You come out of the service and you're in the service, they're going to hire somebody who's been in the service other than somebody who hasn't, because they're on time. They know how to do their job without bitching. That's half of the battle right there. So if that's your dream, get in there and do it, buddy. Don't worry about anybody else, what they think.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hey, Tim and Dan and Colonel, if it's all right with you, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now. And then I think we can probably try to share that that video real quick.
All right.
That
While
sounds
he's
good.
doing that, I do have one more question.
All right,
Sure.
let's get the last question in first, and then we'll play the scene. We can ask more questions afterwards. I just want to give everyone a chance to see this that hasn't.
When it comes to like your other movies, do you think Full Metal Jacket kind of opened the door to that, or do you think
Sure,
you
it
got the
did.
movies because of your
I've
acting?
been milking that since it came out. I think my biggest problem in my career was I never got a good team behind me. I never had good representation. It was pretty much grind, grind, grind. Still is. I'm still waiting for the phone to ring. I've been doing a one-man show since Lee passed away. I go out and I do Full Metal Jacket, then I do Weeds, and then I do comedy, and then I do stories about what I went through in the Marines, and then I talk about the Full Metal Jacket story. And I'm on stage for like 90 minutes. It's a long time. But doing live is so much different than doing film. Film, they do cut, do another take, cut. You screw up, they don't care, cut. But live, you got one shot at it, and it's like a big long monologue. Sometimes you get lost in a story and forget where you come out. And these stories, if they're really truthful stories, every time you go to that story, you still have that same emotion you had when you went through that story, which is strange. I kept thinking if I could correlate that as to be an actor, this would be great. But if you really went through a story and you start telling that story again, you feel that emotion you had while you were in that story. Here's an example of one. I went with 2 days to graduating the Marine Corps. They had Visitors Day. My parents wrote me a letter saying that Dad couldn't get away from work, but they'll make graduation. My best friend was coming in from Texas. I said, "Can you, Dad, when he gets you out for Visitors Day, can you tell him to come back like a couple hours later, put a baseball hat out and say he's Mr. Colceri, that he's my dad, just to get me out so I can get some pokey bait, get a burger or something when I don't have the instructors yelling at me, So he goes, "Sure, my dad will do that." Sure enough, visitors came. JT Jones got called out. An hour later, they called my name and said, "Your father's here." I got all excited. I saw everybody's happy, loving parents, children, mothers, girlfriends. Everybody was in love. No drill instructors. I got a double cheeseburger, big milkshake. And I look over and there's JT Jones and his dad. I get done with my milkshake and I go over and I go, JT goes, "This is my best friend, just Colts." And I go, hi, sir. Thank you, sir, for getting me out." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "For getting me out, Dad." And he goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." And all of a sudden I heard, "Timmy." And I turned around, there was my real father and my mother and my brothers and sisters coming at me. And it affected me. I wanted to be a Marine. I wanted to be a son. I wanted to be a man. I was a boy. It just was very difficult for me to handle that situation. And every time I tell that story and I say Timmy, I get emotional. Every time. It's just the way we are as humans. And the actors, it's a job to control those emotions. And it's not an easy thing to do, but it's fun when you can do it. It's something I've always enjoyed and always will enjoy. And I've never thought about the money or regrets or any of that. I just couldn't wait to get into another character and play it. I think I'm almost done. I think I'm getting to the age where I might just say I've had enough, but still doing it. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Or is that
Tim.
time?
Yeah, how often do you work now? I mean, are you doing like a regular comedy show now, or?
Well, Kevin Major Howard, who just passed away like this last week, he was one of my producers, and I left him, and I've been doing it on my own. So it's been difficult. Last one I did was about 2 months ago in Dana Point, with 200 Marines and generals were there, and it was awesome. It's a good show. Even the women like it. It's just an entertaining show. I go through in your face to comedy, in your face to comedy for all that time. I do a thing where I go. I used to be a Marine and I became a flight attendant. In fact, I think I'm the only Marine who ever became a flight attendant. I guarantee you, they weren't looking for a few good men when they hired me. I looked over, the guy was going like this. "We have two doors, each to the aircraft, and window exits over each wing. The safety information card located in the seat pocket in front of you. Coke, 7-Up. Would you like a pillow?" I made sure they didn't think I was like that. I went, "All right, listen up, maggots. We got two doors, each in the aircraft. Window exits over each wing. Jack and Coke, Bloody Mary. Any of you pussies want a pillow? What are you looking at, lady? That's right, I'm a man." So I do that comedy throughout my whole show. So it's military comedy. And then I have some very serious stuff I talk at the end in my Dress Blues about life and what I think about life, about, you know, if you have nothing nice to say about somebody, say nothing. Get a goal or dream. You have many goals and dreams throughout your life. So be confident, love yourself, always think positive, and others will naturally follow. Forgive, for one day you're going to need to be forgiven. It's a wonderful thing I talk about at the end. It's an interesting show. I wish I had somebody that was producing it, because I just the type of guy goes, Tim, they want you to be here at this time and do it. I'm doing it. I do have a documentary supposed to be coming out next month about what I went through, what we just talked about with the executive producer. They've got Michael Bean and Mark Ralston, and what they saw, what I went through at that time. And yeah, it should be. I won't have to ever tell that story again, I think. Maybe not.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
How many sets of Dress Blues have you had to go through over the years?
Well, you know, I weighed 124 pounds when I went into boot camp. I was a house mouse. You know, I was a little shit, a little guy, but it was good. I was a wrestler, so I was in really good shape. And I was like fifth physically for the whole platoon. But, you know, I got into trouble all the time. It seemed like, you know, no matter. I got some stories. One time they put it, you know how you put your hands behind your head and you put your head down on the street? You ever had to do that one? And all your blood goes into your head. And you sit there long enough, when you come up, you got a hamburger head. You know what I mean? And we're down like this for talking. We shouldn't have been talking. And the guy started next to me going, yeah. He goes, Johnson, get out of here. And he left. And the guy on my right went, Smith, get out of here. And I went, and he took his knee, hit me in the chest, and made me, I know you're lying. I'm like, my stories when I got beaten still to me are funny. But there was times where got beat one time so much that I was like I was crying, and my buddy thought I was laughing. And the drill sergeant said, "What? He's laughing. Send him back in here." And I got beat again. That was a crazy time. One of my favorite lines was, he would never say my name. He'd call me Colceri. He wouldn't say Colceri. He'd say Colcero or something like that. And I would always go, Sir Private Colceri, report his orders, sir. And he'd go, Colceri. Where'd you get such a fucked up name anyway? From my parents, sir. Well, they're fucked up too.